Ben and Gwen were relaxing by a campfire, just the two of them, with Gwen resting her head on his shoulder, and a blanket around them, enjoying a day off for once after all the craziness that happened. They were just chatting about different stuff, and she asked him about different jobs he's done, and he tells her about them, just relaxing together. The two of them relax, enjoying the comfortable silence until the Ultimatrix starts beeping and Ben sighs in annoyance and Gwen says to answer it. We see Max telling Ben that they got a special job that they needed to check out and that it was important. We then cut to ship flying through the air before landing by a big hole, and we see Rosem was waiting for them as ship landed beside a plumber ship. They get out alongside Grandpa Max and greet Rosem before hearing someone speak, looking over, seeing Cooper, who looked taller now. Seems he finally hit a growth spurt, and he was in a plumber gear too, probably fresh from the academy. He says they've just cleared some rubble from the bottom of the crater and there's something that they needed to see. Ben knocks on the material they were standing on and says that it's Castradinium, level 3, at least 500 years away from Earth Tech. Max then asked if the Colonel would care to enlighten them, to which Rosem says it's above his pay grade, and Ben says it's not above his, and to tell him what's under there now or he's going to have a very bad day. Rosem tells them that it's a holding facility. They asked what it's holding and he tells them alien combatants that landed on Earth over the years. Gwen asked how many years and Rosem says 4, maybe 5 decades. Ben says that they've been holding people for decades and the Colonel says not people, aliens. Ben then punches him in the face for speaking that way. Changing into Big Chill, Ben says that he's going to take a look at who's down there and phases through, checking out the area while Rosem complains about Ben hitting him and Max tells him to be glad he just used his bare-knuckle fist. Rosem tries to defend himself, but Max tells him to just shut up, as Ben comes back up and says that the security system was down, though he'd rebooted it. Max asks about the conditions of the cells, and he says that it's inhuman, and Rosem says that they're not human, and Ben gets mad, grabbing them and throwing them into some rubble, cracking it in the process. He then tackles Rosem and proceeds to beat him with his bare hands until Max pulls him off of him, telling Ben that's enough. Rosem says that he should have Ben thrown in prison for that, and Ben tells them that there's no prison in the universe that could hold him, with or without the Ultimatrix. Max asks Ben to tell them more about what he saw down there, and he says that there's 774 prisoners down there. The Colonel says that there's supposed to be 775. Cooper's ship begins to take off, and Ben takes off running after, hitting the dial, changing into Wrath and jumping onto the ship, and began using his claws to rip the outer shell, and then started tearing out parts of the ship's inner parts, causing it to malfunction and making Ben fall. Gwen ran over asking if Ben was alright as he changed back from Wrath and says that he's fine, but the ship got away. Ship then barked his name and turned his head, looking towards a spot as they turned, seeing the smoke from where Cooper's plumber ship crashed. They check the stolen ship, but find that it's empty, except for the self-destruct being active, and Ben tells Gwen and Ship to get back as he hits the watch, changing into Echo Echo, and then the Ultimatrix symbol changing into Ultimate Echo Echo, unleashing the discs around the ship as it exploded. He then used the sound from the discs to contain the explosion and push it out to the middle of the lake before telling them to get down as he dropped the sound, letting the explosion out so that it could expand and disperse. He then changed back to human inside, wondering where the prisoner was that stole the ship. They follow the trail of destruction and find the alien attacking people, and Ben changes into Humongousaur to fight them. And the alien says he's never going back there. He did nothing wrong. Ben says that he doesn't want to take him back there. He wants to help him, though the alien says that no one can help him. They sort of start to seem familiar to Ben, but he couldn't quite place where as they continued fighting. They said that they were exiled to this backwater world by a dictator, and now there was nothing left that would ever be okay again. The revolution was lost while he rotted in their prison, and now his mate and his children were gone. Ben started to better recognize them and put them down, saying that he knew of a place where his people were free. Ben started to better recognize them and put them down, saying that he knew of a place where his people were free of the tyranny of the evil dictator that tried to kill them, but he did not believe them, stating that even if his people were free, his family was gone, executed by the tyrant's men. The only thing they had left to live for for was to take revenge on those that have wronged him. Rosum held him hostage there, and his family was killed as a result, so he would kill Rosum's family in turn. The alien then vanished from sight, though Ship growled, moving around as if watching something. Gwen slapped herself on the forehead and says that Ship can see body heat. Going invisible won't change that. And Ben pats him on the head and tells him to attack to stun, not kill. Ship then barks, changing into a turret blaster, moving where the alien is, and blasts at them with stun shots. The alien tried to knock down the building, but was stopped by Ship as he'd managed to catch him in the tail. Then kept going until they were on the ground stunned, and Ben put them into stasis cuffs so that they wouldn't escape again, and he told Ship he did a good job, patting him on the head, with Ship barking happily. The alien asked what they are waiting for, telling them to finish him off already, let him rejoin his family, begging, shaking, crying, wanting to just see his family again. Gwen couldn't help but feel sympathetic for their plight, while Ben tells them that they'll see their family again, but it won't be on Earth. After scanning the alien, they contact the plumbers, and Ben tells them to take this one to a specific planet called Donsek Hanak. The plumber in charge nodded and did as Ben had told them. We then get a scene of the former prisoner seeing that the world was beautiful and some of his kind were there. However, he still longed for his. Then a voice called out to him. He turned and saw his maiden children running to him and hugging him, glad to see that he was alive. He was happy to see that they were all alive and asked how they'd managed to survive the execution. And his mate then explained it was the strangest thing. A stranger whose body was black like the void of space, with white specks sparkling like stars, had saved them and teleported them there at the last moment, just before the blaster fire had hit them. He then explains that some crazy backwater idiot held him prisoner over the years, even though he tried to tell them that he was not a threat. But thanks to a few good people, he was freed to return to them.